Hey up YouTube, welcome back to the camper van, and I'm going to give you another video today talking about a new mower. I want a new mower. I want a new mower to replace my main mower, which oddly enough is the little Stihl roller mower, the little 545 VR I think. That's the mower that I seem to use the most. My lawns are a mix of small to medium, but also the occasional large lawn or big lawn or very big lawn. But I have a separate mower for that, and in another video, probably hopefully by the end of the year, I'm going to upgrade that as well. So we're going to probably do the exact same thing again, which is me talking about mowers and the pros and cons. And I put it down on a spreadsheet. It sounds boring as all anything, but stick around for it. It should hopefully be interesting. So like I said, I want to upgrade my main mower, which is the Stihl roller mower. It's been a good mower. I can't knock it. Unfortunately, this year the drive's gone on it. I only bought it last year, so again, unfortunately, they aren't commercial. They're a domestic mower. At the end of the day, I like to think whoever invented them, you know, Mr. Stihl or Mr. Viking, he and whoever it is, product designers, they invent something with a lifespan. So as such, especially homeowner grade mowers, they invent them, and I reckon, I don't know if it's true, but surely they must make them to do a certain amount of hours or a certain lifespan, because otherwise you'll overbuild it and there's no need to, because maybe the average homeowner after so long will throw it away. Who knows? But you know, if you don't need to spend money, you don't need to spend money. So maybe the mowers, the homeowner grade, they probably say, right, we're going to make a mower that will last for 1,000 hours, because they'll probably think, right, you know, Mr. Average homeowner will mow his lawn once a week, you know, if he's lucky, at an hour. So therefore, that will last 1,000 weeks. I don't know, but the point I'm making is maybe when they make the commercial mowers, they will think to themselves, right, you know, these blokes are putting, you know, 10 hours a day on a mower. We need to make it last 5,000 hours, you know. And if I'm using a mower on a commercial basis and it's a homeowner mower and it's only made to last 1,000 hours and I'm putting 3 hours a day on it, you get what I mean. I'm going to be wearing it out 15 times quicker than that homeowner. That's how I see it. I also think the commercial mowers, and this is why I want a commercial mower, they've built that little bit better. Now, don't get me wrong, the Stihl mower hasn't fallen apart, but, you know, it does get dragged up and down stairs. Does get abuse. It does mow things it probably shouldn't mow. I have never ever had a problem with any of the Stihl mowers mechanically other than this. This is the first time, and I've owned a few of them basically. I've owned the mulching one, the 21 roller, the 21 6 series, and I've owned another dinky roller mower and this one. This is the only one that's ever caused me problems. So I'm looking at, there's 4 mowers in my pool at this moment in time. So I'll go through them, and what I'll do is I'll split screen this mofo, and then you can see basically, hopefully, what I'm sort of seeing. So the first mower that I'm looking at is the Hayter Harrier 48 Pro. So again, I'll put a picture up there. The next one is the Weibang Virtue 46 SVP. Now, all of these are 46 to 48 centimeters because I mow small to medium lawns. I don't want a great big mower. I don't want to be throwing a great big mower around on these small lawns. I want something, and I'll get through on my list of demands on what I think makes a good mower. Well, for me anyway. Other people it might be different. So the Etesia Pro 46 PHTS3, I think. So again, I'll put a picture up there. And then the Stihl RM 650V. So I found this is the 4 mowers that closely match what I want. And like I said, the Hayter Harrier, you know, the Stihl, you know, the Weibang, the Etesia. Like I said, I'll put them all in there, and then you can see, as I said, I'll put some pictures up of each one. So what I'm going to do now is show you the spreadsheet, what I am going to be going off, and this is my criteria. So like I said, I'll put it up here. Let's have some tea. Oh, that's how Trump has a drink. So the conditions for mine. So like I said, I'll put the spreadsheet up here. Or it might even be here. Who knows? So like I said, the biggest thing for me is bagging. my biggest want is it's got to be a good bagger. I don't want to, and I'll explain as always, I don't want to tweak it. I don't want to buy a kit. I don't want to change a blade. If I have to, I have to. But I want something to bag excellent, because for me, the most annoying thing is, don't get me wrong, at the moment we've had absolutely stunning weather. No need to worry about it, but that's why I use the Ego mower. It bags amazing in this weather. But wet weather, and we have a lot of wet weather, I want something that's excellent. I want something that will do the best job possible. So that's my main sort of criteria. The next one is weight. Now, when it comes to bagging wet weather, what I've done is I've given a score out of 10 because it's subjective. This is, so most of this is opinion, stuff like that. I'll get through it. I've trolled the internet. I've watched as many videos as I can, Facebook posts, searched on Facebook groups. So spoke to people that own them. You know, I've tried to do as much research, and for me, I've condensed it to an out of 10 score. Now, your score might be different. So when it comes to pedigree, you might think, no, that should be a 10 out of 10. That's fine. Like I said, this is just my little system. This is my research, what I've done for each one. And believe you me, I think the most expensive one is just under £1,500. If I'm going to be spending that much money on a mower, I want to make sure it's the cock for dolly. So as such, it takes me a long time to invest to earn this money. It takes me a long time to also look at purchasing something, because I don't want to do. I've done that. I've wasted money, and it just frustrates me. You end up going into the container and the little things winking at you in a corner, and it's driving you insane. So like I said, so weight's an issue for me. You get what I mean. But weight's an issue for me. I like just having that. I just like easy work, easy mowing, and I want to mow at you know, like I said, I'm mowing small to medium lawns here, complex shapes, not just boxes and rectangles. So as such, I don't want to be twisting and turning, lifting. I also have to lift the mower in and out of the van because it's a smaller mower. I have got ramps, but again, I want something that little bit easier to get in and out of the van. Also as well, I always think to myself, well, yeah, heavy mower's good, it should stay planted, especially on a bit of a slope, but what was if a drive goes and you've got to push it for the rest of the way? You know, most of these mowers, or some of these mowers, they haven't got blade brake, so again, you're pushing that in and out of the van, up and down slopes, across gravel, across driveway. And trust me, pushing, you know, a heavy mower over, you know, a real thick layer of gravel isn't fun. So like I said, weight. The next one is pedigree. Now, what I mean by that is I've looked at a lot of different things. There's brand strength, that's the big one. You know, is it some pop-up brand that you've never even heard of? You know, is it something that's been established, that's been around for a while? You know, is it likely to go bump? You know what I mean? I don't want to buy a mower and then next minute they stop. So the next one is general consensus, and this could be a bit of a contentious one. This is what I've looked for on the internet. I've looked on, so one of the mowers, I've looked at it, and I've searched on Facebook groups, seeing what people like. And if I've read through and I've speed running it, you know, don't get me wrong, I've not read every article, but if the overwhelming is bad, then, you know, it's going to get a bad score. If I've spoke to people and they've had bad experiences, it will reflect in that. This isn't a ranking. So, you know, if you've got one of these mower and I've said it's got a general consensus score low, well, it doesn't matter. It's subjective. Everyone's got their own thing. But I've got a piss with a cock I'm giving. I'm trying, you know, I'm looking at what I want here. I'm trying to factor in. The next one is engine. I want a good engine on it. Preferably, I like a Honda engine. You know, you've got that proven reliability. Most places can fix Honda engines, etc., etc. So, next one is cost. Now, cost is the big one, but not necessary, because you pay for what you get at the end of the day. Next one is dealer network. Again, what's the point of buying something with a 2-year warranty if there's no dealers around you? So, again, and I will caveat that, warranty is the next one. Folding handlebars. My van, I have to fold that to put that mower where that lives in my van. I have to fold the handlebars down. So again, that's a necessary one to me. Grass box size, again, there's no point having something and you're constantly emptying it. You know, just the same as quite often I'll use it, you know, and also as well, the bigger the box, you know, if it's thick grass or it's wet grass, it just gives it that little bit more room to get in there, stuff like that. If it is that, you know, all mowers suffer a bit when it comes to bagging wet conditions, but if you've got that extra room for it, it's an extra airflow, etc, etc. And the next one's cutting width. I'll be honest with you, they're all of a similar size. I'm after ideally between the 17 to the 19 inch mark. Again, small to medium lawns. So that's my sort of ranking system. I don't think there's any way to give an overall out of 10 score for all of these mowers, but quickly you'll see things that I like and don't like, and I think I've made my mind up in what mower I'm going to get. So right, let's get on with it. So the first one that we're going to look at, and I will speed run through this because I don't want this to be forever, is the Hayter Harrier 48 Pro. Now I'll be honest with you, this is my bottom 4 pick straight off the bat. I'm not going to lie to you, and I'll just blast through them. So bagging, again, big one here. So I'll put a picture up. Well, I'll put the spreadsheet up, but I wouldn't put a picture of it up at thingy. Bagging, I think we can all agree they're shit in the wet weather, aren't they? Now I will caveat that with the Hayter. They've just been bought out, well, they've been recently bought out by Toro. So henceforth, and this is why when it comes to pedigree and general consensus, I'm going to caveat it as usual. But like I said, for me, the bagging's so important, and everybody I have spoke to about Hayters, they all say the same thing. They aren't good in the wet weather. So I can pretty much sort of knock this one off, but I will blast through it. Weight, 52 kg. This is the heaviest mower there. Pedigree, I'll be honest with you, I have given it an 8 out of 10 because Hayter have been around for a long while. Don't get me wrong, I think that will give a fantastic stripe. I've got customers that have, and I've seen people with Hayter mowers as well, they leave a fantastic stripe behind. If stripes were essential, maybe, but at this point in time, they aren't, if I'm being honest with you. The general consensus, I'll be honest with you, from what I've seen of them, I'm going to shoot it for a 4 out of 10. Like I said, they have just been bought out. They have just released the new model. Machinery Nation have done a video tearing down the new gearboxes. You know, I believe if you buy the new model, you're going to get a better machine. But again, is the writing on the wall? Yeah, it's just been released. You know, like I said, I know people who've used them. I know people that are probably super happy with them. So me shooting it down, I've never used one, so I am talking out my arse here. I'm just keyboarding it, and I'm just going off what I've seen. Cost of it. Now these prices, I did a search on Google. I've not rung around dealers near to me. I've just searched because that's what you guys would be doing presumably, or you'd be ringing dealers. And like I said, they aren't the cheapest, but you know, it's not the best price. But the price that I found it at, which I thought was the best maybe, or cheapest, $13.59. Dealer network, well, there used to be a dealer near to me. They have stopped because they said they can't get the spare parts for it. So, like I said, that's one dealer. That could not be indicative of all of them. Warranty, 24 months commercial warranty. Can't shake a stick at that, really. Folded handlebars, they do fold. 70 litre grass box and a 48 centimetre 19 inch cut. Again, can't really moan at that. Like I said, it's, you know, it very much is sort of one of them. So that's my 4th pick straight off the bat. So as I said, so the next one is the Weibang Virtue 46 SVP. Now, Weibang have been around for a while. They, from what I can gather, they're the go-to mowers for commercial users. Now, I think, and I'll caveat with most of this, it is the law of average. You know, the more you sell, the more you do, the more problems you'll encounter because you've got a bigger data pool. There's more people using them. You know, there's more people with good opinions, more people with bad opinions. And I'll get on with that as we get going. I know, first and foremost, they are a stalwart of the commercial industry. So, you know, peace out here. I'm not trying to bag on them at all. So, bagging, wet weather, I just shot for an even 5 out of 10. I have heard that if you swap the blade for a high lift blade and you speed up the revs, it's a lot better. I don't want to do that, if I'm being honest. To me, it should be, if it's a case of that, it should come like that at the factory again. But then I've spoke to another gardener in my area, and I trust it. He said they aren't the best, but that was last year. Things could have changed. He could have been using it wrong. From what I've seen online, there is that consensus they aren't the best in the bad weather, unless you do the speedy uppy thing and swapping the thing again. And for me, you're doing that. You know, the point of me getting one of them is for the commercial warranty, but then you're speeding up. I don't know if that invalid. I presume it could do, or it might do, it might not. But like I said, I want it out of the box. So weight, 39.8 kilo. You know, smack bang in the middle. It is only it's a 46 centimetre. So you know, it's 70. Is that 46? So that's the 18-inch cut. So you know what I mean. The pedigree, again, I'm going to shoot for a 7 out of 10 on it, because everyone's got them, you know, but, you know, they're the commercial mower, aren't they? Now, general consensus, I might get shot down for this, I have shot them for a 5 out of 10. Because just recently, there's been a slew of posts on the gardening groups where people have had nothing. People have had problems with them. People have said that they've not had the best of luck with them. Gearboxes going, issues with the mower, mowers running and then going bang. Now again, that could be one person that's super wound up, that's posted on every group you can find. Often the angry people, or if you have bad experiences, you go out your way to sort of give that feedback. As I said, I know a lot of people personally that have got them, other gardeners in my area, other gardeners that I speak to, they've got them, they've been super happy with them. But as much as I've seen that, I've seen more people who said they've not been. Again, looking at it from both sides, it's all about if they're selling a lot of mowers to commercial users, you either go on Facebook to say you had a really good experience, or a forum, or you had a really bad experience. And quite often we're more better at doing the badder one than the gooder one. So that one does have a Honda GCV engine. It's a 145 so it's a little bit smaller, I believe, than the Hayter one. But it's got the Honda engine. Now, this one has got more features. I think it's got the most features out of them. It's got the side discharge, rear discharge, it's mulches. So, it's a little bit more of a capable mower. At my sort of, lawn size, I won't need them features. The mulching one's handy. But typically, a majority of stuff I do is bagging, if I'm being honest with you. But again, it's worth a mention. Dealer network. Well, there is a dealer near to me. I believe is a Weibang dealer. But he has messed me around fixing other tools to a point that I would discount that. So as much as there is a dealer near to me, it's a strong no, because there's no point having a dealer with you when you can't rely on him to do the work. So you'll be able to be in a situation where there isn't one. From what I could find, I'm sure I've read somewhere that they have a 2-year warranty, but that might be the really bigger mowers. But from the internet, on their page, it says 12 months. Folding animals, yes. Grass box, smallest grass box here, from my research, 55 litre. And it's 46 centimetre cut, 18-inch. So it's in that sort of ballpark size, what I'll be looking for. So the next one is the Etesia Pro 46 PHTS3. That's the one with the drive. They do one without drive. I don't know why you picked that, but anyway. Again, never used one, but I'm going off what I've seen online. Bagging, in a weird way, you've got to shoot for a 9 out of 10, haven't you? They are known for bagging. From what research I've done, they have been designed from the ground up for wet weather mowing. As such, the person or whoever's designed it, they set the speed for the optimal bagging. So one of the things I hear a lot about Etesias is they are slow. They're a slow mower. This one I think is a single speed, don't quote me, but they are slow. Now, I'm a slow walker, so maybe it'll be fine for me. I have seen you can buy an aftermarket speed up kit, which is a bigger pulley and a bigger bout. So I don't know if that invalidates the warranty, but again, you're not tuning anything. If it is, that could be an option. But like I said, I am I'm a sedate. You look at me, you know what I mean? I'm built for comfort, not speed. So again, bagging wet weather, 9 out of 10. Weight wise, 37 kilo. It's the lightest mower out of this range. Pedigree, like I said, I'm not using it. I could be talking out my arse. I've given it a 9 out of 10. They are known for reliable mowers from what I see, and this is general consensus as well. I've given it a 9 out of 10. From what I've seen online, a lot of people, I don't think I've found one person, and this is me looking, you know, I've not looked at every forum, but from what I've seen, people have had overall good luck with it. It's got a Honda GCV 170 engine. It's also the most expensive mower at £1,462. Dealer network, there isn't one near to me. It's going to be a good distance. Now, I mentioned about the dealer network, but at the same time, it is a problem and it isn't a problem. So where my Stihl roller mower's gone off for repair, I've sent it to them. You know, I rung them up. I bought it online. They said, "Luke, send it back to us." And what they've done is they've charged for the pallet to send it back. But they said, if it is that it goes down as a repair, we'll give you your money back. You know, so we'll see on that. Like I said, it's, as I said, that is an option, and you've got to think about it as well. How far would you travel for a repair or a dealer? You know, I've seen people where they'll go good distances to pick tools up. Me personally, if it's anything over an hour, you know, of solid driving, I'll just post it to them. I'll just say, look, I'll get it on a pallet and I'll send it to you. If it's 35 quid to send something to somewhere, I'd pay it. You know, so as such, for me, if I was to buy something and there wasn't a dealer network but near to me, I would just buy it from where I feel comfortable, and then I would just send it to the dealer. I'd just send it on a pallet, because my time's worth more than that. If a company says to me, yeah, it's going to be 75 quid to pallet, you know, to send it on a pallet, and I've got a 2.5 hour drive, while I'm taking half a day off straight away, more, I'm burning an hour's worth of diesel or 2.5 hours worth of diesel, you know, I just send it to them. You know, like I said, it's, yeah. It's also got a 24-month warranty, so again, bonus for that. And folded handlebars, yes. It's also got the mono. It's got the middle handlebar, which I really like. You can get access to it both sides. I empty the grass boxes a little bit weird, as in, I'll sort of, if it's got two handlebars, I sort of go through the middle and then pull it through on itself. You know, I think it's going to need the support. As I say, I've got shit core strength. So, you know, overhanging and not having support, I lean on everything, you know. Like I said, no core strength. Grass box size, 80 litres, biggest grass box. It's weird though, because it says 80 litres, but then if you look at the specs, it says 51 litre grass capacity. No idea. Like I said, I'm going to shoot for 80 because everyone else has got 70s and, well, you know, other than Weibang. And that's an 18-inch cut, 46 centimetre. The next one is, again, sticking with what I know, the Stihl RM 650V. This is the, you know, a 19-inch. It's a bit bigger than what I've had previously. It is a homeowner mower, but anyway, I'll get through it. So, bagging wet weather, I've got to shoot for a 9 out of 10. I've never had problems with Stihls. They've always bagged, no modification, dull blades after a season. They bag. They just do what they need to do. Weight-wise, though, surprised me, 46 kilo. You know, I don't know how, you know, it's, you know, whether I found the wrong one or Luke, but I checked a couple of different places, 46 kg. Yeah, like I said, pedigree, I'll give it 7 out of 10. It is a homeowner mower, you know what I mean? You can't, for whatever it is, it's still a homeowner mower. And like I said, I've used Stihl, I've got the 6 series, so I've got the bigger brother of it. It is good, it works. But it's still a homeowner mower. I'm still putting it through a lot of abuse. Like I said, general consensus, there's a lot of people, but I can only go off really, like I said, well, I've reached where the others haven't, so I've gave my soapbox opinion, but I've given it 9 out of 10 because other than that drive issue, I've had nothing but good from them, so I can't knock them myself, really. Engine, it's got, I think it's a Collier XT800 OH3. I've never heard of it, but I've never had a problem. I've never had a problem with the engines. They've always started. That little Stihl roller mower, that wasn't used for ages, and I think that was a Briggs & Stratton. That started after like 2 pulls. Can't knock them really. Price wise, $7.99. Dealer network, yeah, the strongest. There's 2 Stihl dealers near to me. I can't knock it really. Warranty, 3 months. Worst warranty, but it's a homeowner mower at the end of the day. It's a homeowner mower. Folding handlebar, yeah, it's got the mono. I like the mono, you know, just one handlebar. It's weird though, because how I empty it, I'd prefer it on the other side. But anyway, people always bag on about the handlebars, saying they'll break, the mono ones. I've never had one. I think if you had to, and you could, I think he was trying, you could break it, but you'd have to be a psychopath or really strong. Grass box size, 70 litres, and it's a 19-inch cot. So, for me, going through it, there's sort of 2 sort of thought processes here. So, I'll be honest with you, the mower that I've chose, or the mower I've picked, is the Etesia Pro. It's the most expensive, but it's got the most things going for it that I want. It's got good 2-year warranty. It's the lightest mower. It's got the biggest engine out of the mix of them. You know, biggest grass box. I'm sure I've read somewhere it's got a deflector flap on it, or deflector plate. You know, so like I said, the problem is the dealer network. But like I said, if you get the reliability out of it with it having a Honda engine, you know, as I said, I do look after my equipment to an extent. But all of these mowers, whatever I buy, they're going to be cutting stuff, you know. I've used the domestic Stihl mowers, and I've cut grass too high that I shouldn't have. I've mulched things I shouldn't have. I've hit things I shouldn't have. I've took it up and down stairs that I shouldn't have. My theory with the Etesia is it's a much more commercial built machine. Like I said, but it's the most expensive. You could get 2 Weibangs and still have change. I could get another Stihl roller mower. I could buy 2 of them for the price of the Etesia. But do I want to keep changing a mower every year and picking up a corpse graveyard of old, you know, knackered mowers? You know, trying the roulette of trying to get them fixed. Don't get me wrong, I think having an Etesia mower or any of these mowers with a professional warranty is not the answer. I think spares is the answer, you know, no matter what. Even if you get, I've never had this before, but even if you get a dealer says, Luke, we'll cancel all the work, we'll get it done in now, but we're going to take us a few days, you've still got a few days out of it. So either way, I want to, you know, I've got spares and I'll always have spares. As I said, at the moment, the Ego mower's subbed in, but I've got a 21 mower. You know, I've got mowers that I need. But like I said, going into the rest of this year, I want to upgrade the main mower, and I want that to sort of, as I say, if it's got a 2-year warranty, it should hopefully have 2 years of trouble-free mowing. We will see. As I said, I've had that with all of my mowers other than this little Stihl roller mower. Maybe the answer is to buy another little Stihl roller mower and see how I get on with that. I'll be honest with you, I think if I had another little Stihl roller mower, I would be happy. You know, I'd be happy. I'd be carrying on like normal. But I'm hoping with the Etesia mower, and I have noticed this, I've noticed the lawns that I did with a little Stihl roller mower, I've swapped out and I've used, so the medium lawns, I've just used a large mower, the 21, and the Stihl 21's got more power, it's bigger mower, and I've noticed the efficiency. I've noticed that I'm not emptying the grass box as much because it's got a bigger grass box. I've noticed that it's not struggling on the thick parts of the lawn. I've noticed it's so much quicker. So again, I'm getting that from the Etesia mower, that little bit more power, you know, or should hopefully be a lot more power, better bagging, you know, better, you know, speed doesn't matter because I still walk the same speed, but you get what I mean. It feels quicker. It feels like I'm not having to slow when it gets them mossy thick part. With a 21, I'm literally just blasting over it. So like I said, that's it. We've spent nearly 30 minutes rambling on about mowers. As I said, thank you for watching, guys. This is a bit of a nerdy tool talk episode. I am looking, hopefully, if I can this year, upgrading the main mower. sorry, the big mower. I want a big mower next for the big lawns, mulching, and I've got criteria for that, so we will see on that. So have a good day, guys. As usual, keep on gardening and all that good stuff. Peace out.